everyone, my name is Elizabeth. This is Frizzy Lizzie Stitches, and this is Flosstube number 54. Hello. So today is December the 29th, 2023, and it's been about 4 weeks since my last update. Since then, basically the entire month of December has happened. So I will get into live stuff at the end of the video, and we're just gonna jump right into all the projects that I've been working on, because despite how busy this month has been, I think it's been busy because I've been trying to do so many crafts. So I have a good variety of things to show you today, including cross stitch, crochet, and knitting. So buckle up. The first thing I wanted to show you guys is actually an FFO, and I just picked this up from Keepsakes last weekend, and it is Garden Party by Satsuma Street. They finished this into a pillow for me, and as you can tell, it's quite big. I stitched mine on 25 count Vintage Country Mocha Lugana with all the called for colors for the warm colorway. Satsuma Street provides a warm and a cool toned. The cool toned is like blues and greens. So yeah, I'm so excited to have this back. It looks so good. And there's like a little herringbone stitch, and Wilson Snow's in the corner. Hi, Wilson. Hi. You come here? Yes, come here. Oh my God. Okay, anyway. So yes, there's piping on the front, and then there's the little herringbone stitch on the bottom, and this corally color matches like some of the lighter pinks down here. So yeah, anyway, it looks so good. I'm so excited about it. I haven't decided where I'm gonna put it. Right now it's just kind of sitting as a throw pillow in my office chair. Thank you, Wilson. But yeah, anyway, so pretty. Alright, so the next project that I worked on was actually during the Jingle Ball, and it was our round robin that I'm doing with a bunch of my friends. This pattern is Quaker Gardens by Mathews, and I don't have any project to actually show you, so I will be putting up some photos. But basically, I started the weekend stitching on Brijin's project. I believe my last Flosstube update actually was like the morning of Jingle Ball, so I would have showed you Brijin's project because I had it at that point. Oh, I just realized there's a hole in my sock. Anyway, so I worked on Brijin's project during the Jingle Ball on Friday and Saturday, and then while I was finishing up Brijin's project, like I kid you not, I was putting in like the last couple stitches, Bobby came back inside from walking Wilson and with a package from Maddie that had Marjorie's project in it. So it was super fun because I was able to literally immediately finish Brijin's project and then start working on Marjorie's project. So I kind of sped up a little bit there. This is what Brijin's project looks like. It is, I'm going off from memory here. I think it's Picture This plus Bramble in 36 count, 1/2, with color and cotton patchwork. And then this one right here is Marjorie's project, and I'm pretty sure this is a 32 count vellum by Picture This Plus. Both of these are linen, and the DMC is like 38.60 something for the brown, and then she chose Clockwork is a Weeks Dye Works for the orange for Marjorie's flower, and then everyone else on Marjorie's project is stitching with the floss that they're using for their project. So I stitched my blue flower with DMC 3842. So yeah, anyway, but they looked so good. It was so exciting to be able to stitch both of them back to back like that. I ended up finishing Marjorie's before Jingle Ball was over with on Sunday, so a good 2 days on each of those. And then I got them in the mail on Monday to Megan. And so now Megan has both of those, and yeah, it's been really fun. So, and then also mine is, a little update on mine. I think mine is with Marjorie right now. And so the people who have stitched on mine are obviously myself, Megan, Alexis, and did Brijin? I think Brijin stitched on it because I think Alexis sends it to Brijin. So anyway, this is a picture. Brijin did stitch on it because I remember she posted on Instagram. So here's a picture of what mine is looking like. And yeah, so I love it so much. It's so cool to stitch on everybody's project and like get to use different materials. I feel like it makes the monochromatic a little more fun because you aren't really stitching with one color floss because you're switching the projects around all the time. But yeah, it looks really great so far. I'm so excited. All right, up next is The Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings. This is what it is going to look like. And this is what it would have looked like last time I showed it to you. And this is what it looks like now. So I'm stitching mine with 36 count, picture this plus linen, in the color Mirage. And I'm using all the called for DMC, and then there's 2 overdyes in this project. One of them is like chalk or something, and so I'm just using DMC Blanc, and then, or 5200. And then the orange is, I don't even know, it's a classic color work, or gentle art, but I replaced it with a color and cotton floss that I had called Pumpkin Pie. Ooh, there we go. So it definitely, after I stitched it up, I was having a little bit of a doubt because I thought that maybe the orange DMC was a little too light to be going with that pumpkin pie, but I'm just gonna trust the process and keep going. So, but it's looking really cool so far. It is definitely deceiving as far as stitching goes because it just is way more stitches than it looks like it is. But I think between last time and this time, I think I just started putting in all that orange up here. And I might have added a little bit more brown, but oops. I did not bring my little board over here. Poor planning. And that was like 500 stitches because that was on my Whipco board, which I'm almost done with my Whipco board. I only have, I'll show it to you in a second actually. I'll talk about that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so the next project is Sweetheart Campfire by Thomas Kinkade, charted by some random person on Etsy. I don't even think they sell it anymore. But anyway, this is what it's gonna look like. And then this is what it would have looked like last time I showed it to you. And this is what mine looks like now. Well, it's pretty bad. The lights from the tree. Here we go. So I have added 1,000 stitches since you last saw it. So I filled in the rest of this diagonal and then I got started over here. And that was a Whipco call as well. So there is one more Whipco call on my board that I haven't completed, which is another 1,000 stitches on this project. So I am planning to do the New Year's Eve 12 by 12, but similar to what I did last year, I am just going to work on one project for 12 hours rather than doing like a mixture of whips and new starts. I don't want to be switching projects every hour. That's way too stressful. I feel like it's stressful enough to try to stitch on one project for that long. So yeah. Anyway, I'm hoping that I will get my 1,000 stitches done in that 12 hours because I believe last year, I think I ended up getting like 900, like really close to 1,000. Not like definitely over 950 stitches. So I think it should be able to work out. And then I will be ringing in the new year with a complete Whipco board. Look at me go. Now I did change some of the goals throughout the year, but I made it work for me in my life, okay? But anyway, this is what it looks like. Also, my Whipco goals for January, I'm doing prompts this time instead of like actually assigning a project to it. So the prompts that got pulled for me are a project with blue floss and a project with stitching with 2 strands. So now I for myself, I don't want to count one project could definitely go for both of those, but in the good spirit of Whipco, I'm going to do different projects for each of those calls. So or at least meet both of the goals separately, like not make it count twice, you know? So I was kind of thinking this might be good. I mean, obviously, technically you don't start until January, but I was thinking this might be good for the blue floss because I'm really heavy in this blue area right now. Otherwise, other projects that have blue floss, because like, even if it has blue floss, like I want to actually be stitching with the blue floss. My Love Boat sampler has a lot of blue in it at the bottom, but I'm not at the bottom yet. So I'm trying to think about which project I want to fit in for that one. And then the other one, 2 strands, like I literally could just pick anything because I pretty much, I would say like 80% of my projects are with 2 strands. So anyway. Okay, so that is all my cross stitch. I have crochet and knitting. I don't have one of the crochet things with me, so I will be showing you a video and some photos. But my mom's birthday was earlier this month, and I saw her a couple weekends ago, so I was able to deliver this to her in person. And I crocheted her a Dachshund. It was so cute. The whole concept is that I would be making more clothes for this Dachshund so that she can like change the clothes with the season. So I just started her out with a red scarf and a red hair bow. So here's a little video of me, like this was basically right after I assembled the Dachshund and hadn't woven in a lot of the ends yet. And then the other pictures, they're not that great, but they are like the Dachshund with the scarf and the hair bow on. So it actually was a little bit difficult to photograph. It's one of those things that just looks really cute when you're able to like hold it and move it around in your hands. But she was so excited about it. It wasn't that hard to make, but I was going to make a second one for my sister for Christmas, and I just didn't have it in me to like immediately start another one. So I still will be making one for my sister, but it will, obviously Christmas is past. I did not make it for her for Christmas. So probably for her birthday, which will be like Thanksgiving next year. So yeah, anyway, that turned out super cute. I feel like my mom we were toying around with names for the Dachshund. I don't think we landed on anything, but I had suggested Rose because the pattern designer for that was Lillian Rose Crochet. I'll link the video down below where she shows you how to make it. But my mom already has a dog named Lily, so I figured, you know, you call this one Rose. But yeah, so that turned out so cute. I used Bernat Velvet yarn, which was a little tricky to get started at first, but as you work with it, you get used to having to feel for your stitches. And yeah, it ended up so soft and snuggly, and it was a lot of fun to make. So, and then the next thing that I crocheted was a Santa hat. So this is what it looks like. This is actually Bobby's Santa hat. I feel like I could probably model it for you guys. I feel like for me, I would want it to be a little tighter. Oh, actually Bobby stretched it out quite a bit, so it actually feels pretty good now. But anyway, look how stinking cute this is. This is a pattern from that Cloud Company was the candy cane. Crochet Garden, I think is what it's called, who made this pattern, and I will also link that below. And it's called the Santa Bobble Hat, or Bobble Santa Hat, or something like that. And so you have these bobble stitches that make the brim of the hat. And then there's a really cool little, almost stripy looking pattern on the like stocking part of the hat. And then I got a pom-pom on there. So it is a super obnoxious, adorable little hat. I made this in the size adult large with, or maybe it was the adult large, with a 7mm crochet hook. The pattern does call for a 6mm hook, but I wasn't getting gauge with that because I do crochet kind of tightly. So I did go up a hook size and got me closer to gauge. And it definitely has stretched now that Bobby has worn it a few times. Because when I first put it on after making it, like I thought it was too tight, and I was like, maybe I'll knit or crochet a size bigger, but honestly, this works pretty good, so I might just make mine the same size. But the yarn that I use is just an acrylic yarn that I got from, this was yarn, the cream color is one that I had in stash. I think it was like a Yarn Bee yarn from Hobby Lobby. And then this red one is like, what is that called? Big Twist, I think, from Joanne. So, yeah. And I feel like it looked like it used half a skein of the red, but it probably used like almost half a skein. So I did buy 2 so that our hats would match, but I don't have enough of the cream left, so mine's actually gonna have a white trim and everything instead of the cream, but I'm cool with that. So the pattern actually used like a tweed, and the tweed, like for the white part, and that looked really cool. I don't have any tweed yarn, and I'm just gonna make it with what I already have, so. Also, I started a Ravelry page. I started a while ago, but I actually tried to start adding some of my projects to it. So you can actually find my project, this one, and the candy cane pillow on there. I didn't put the Dachshund on there because I didn't really like the pictures I had, but I might go back and add it just to have a record and write any notes down, so when I make it again, I can reference that. So, yeah. Okay, so now I have some knitting, and I've just been really into the yarn lately. I have my sock. So last time I showed it to you, I believe I had just picked up the gusset stitches. So I've knit quite a bit of the foot now, like this. And you may not notice, but I do have new needles. So I was knitting this with, and I looked at my last video because I did not know what I was saying. I think in my last video I said that these were a size 1 on a 16-inch cable, and that is incorrect. These are a size 1.5 on a 32-inch cable, which the inches indicate from needle tip to needle tip. It's not just the cable length. So anyway, I was knitting it magic loop on these needles, but I bought a bunch of needles for another project, which I'll show you next. And so in that order, I also bought myself a pair of 9-inch circulars. So these are still 1.5. Okay, sorry, I have the fireplace playing and it's a YouTube video, so it may have had an ad, but anyway, we're back. These 9-inch circulars, like the needle size is the same. It's just instead of being 32 inches on magic loop, now it is a 9 inches, and I'm just knitting in the round, which I was already knitting in the round, but it's all just continuous now rather than being split half and half. So yeah. Also, I took the opportunity to like take a step back and really try to reevaluate how I was knitting. So I knitted a really long time ago, probably in like high school. I never really made anything. I just kind of learned how to knit, and I was throwing my yarn. So like before I would have been, that's not gonna be, you're not gonna be able to see that, but before I would be like picking up my stitch and like taking my yarn and pulling it around to knit it. And now so I would be holding my yarn in my dominant hand, but now I have tried to teach myself how to do continental knitting, where you hold your yarn in your non-dominant hand, and so then you end up like scooping the yarn up through the stitch to knit it, and it's a lot faster, and then you're not having to do this with your arm every time you make a stitch. And anyway, I was very proud of myself for figuring that out, because it has become a lot more enjoyable and a little more satisfying, like actually making my stitches that way rather than throwing the yarn. There are still some times where if I'm going extra slow and I'm trying to learn something new, that I will throw it, but then I will, like, after I figure out where my needle is supposed to be inserted or whatever, then I will go back to the continental style. So anyway, I've been learning a lot. So that's my sock. This is fiber seed yarn called Unicorn Tears and Litmus, and if you want to see more info about this sock, you can check out my Ravelry page, because I put all that info in there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna probably bring these with me when I'm traveling next weekend to see my sister. So anyway, knitting a sock is great plain like a plain project because it's so small and you don't have to like take up a lot of space doing it. So, all right, and my second and last knitting project, I actually put in a cross stitch project bag because I don't have any knitting project bags, and I have a few extra cross stitch ones right now. So it's still a bag just to hold a project, right? It doesn't matter what kind of project it is. But I have started knitting a Musselburgh hat for Bobby. If you're familiar with knitting, you probably already know what that is, but if you're not, it is a very popular crochet or popular knitted hat pattern that you can purchase on Ravelry. And basically you just like knit this big tube and then it kind of like folds into itself to create the hat. So when I was with my parents a couple weekends ago, I bought some yarn. So this is kind of starting to leak into haul a little bit, but this is my Musselburgh hat. So I put this marker on here to indicate the front because currently I am knitting this magic loop style. So it's in the round, but half of the stitches are on the front needle and half of them are on the back needle. And yeah, so I have knit it large enough to where I could measure my gauge, which is about 8.5 stitches. This is fingering weight yarn on a size 2 needle. And this is also a 32-inch cable or whatever. And then this is my yarn that I'm using. It is from Big Sky Yarn Company, and the color is called Grizzly Bear. So this one's gonna be for Bobby. And yeah, it's been really fun. I did, Knitty Natty had a cast on tutorial where she uses a crochet hook. And so I did that. It's called a pinhole cast on or something. So you can kind of see my tiny little pinhole right there where I started my stitches, because this hat starts with like 8 stitches or something. And then look how many I have now. So yeah, this has been really fun. The increasing, I had to learn because I didn't know how to do that, but it wasn't too hard. So now I'm ready to tackle the world. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, this has also been really fun. So, and I'm hoping that I can finish this relatively quickly, like maybe by the end of January, so that Bobby can actually wear it while it's still cold, because that would be great. But yeah, I love how this is knitting up. It looks really cool. It's like a purple, brown, navy kind of speckly business. So yeah, that's my Musselburgh hat. So I'm very happy with all these new skills that I've been teaching myself. I feel very accomplished, and I will talk about it later in what I've been up to, but I've been watching lots of Knitty Natty and Crazy Sock Lady, and now I'm just inspired to knit all the things. All right, I think we can move into haul, which that yarn was technically, that for my Musselburgh hat was part of the haul. So I'll go ahead and stay on the topic of knitting and yarn. This is the other skein of yarn that I bought. I did not get this one wound up because I knew that it was gonna take me a while to knit that other hat. So I was like, maybe by the time I'm ready for this, I will be able to purchase myself a yarn swift and a ball winder, and then I can cake this up into a ball on my own. But this is the same yarn brand, Big Sky Yarn Company, and this one is called Down on the Farm. And these are both fingering weight, and there's 100 grams in here. But yeah, super, I know it's kind of hard to see with like the tree in the background. There we go. But it's very blue, gray, purple. There's some pink in there. So yeah, super pretty. I'm very excited. I will be knitting myself a Musselburgh hat with this one. And they don't really totally match, but they kind of have similar vibes. So like this kind of looks like this over here. But anyway, it's just gonna be so cute. Me and Bobby are gonna have our own little hand knit hats. And then to knit these, I needed to buy some needles because I only had one needle, which was the one that I was doing with my sock on Magic Loop. So I bought that 9-inch circular, I bought the needles you saw my Musselburgh hat on, and then I also bought these, which are the same size, it's the size 2, but this is a 16-inch. So once the Musselburgh hat, once the crown is done, I will have enough stitches on the needle where I can move it to this smaller needle and be able to knit like continuous in the round rather than having to do the magic loop style. So these are kind of on standby until my hat gets big enough. But these are all the Chalgu red lace needles, and this cord is just like so flexible. It doesn't really like hold a shape or anything, whereas the original needles that I was working with, these are the Haya Sharp, and you can already see like this needle is very, like it very much remembers it has strong memory. This cable does not have a memory, so it just kind of flops around. But these are like a little more stiff. And Megan the Seattle stitcher, she told me that you could boil water and like dip this in there to like loosen it up. I have not tried that, but I've also had these for like over 6 months now with continuous use, and they still are this stiff, so I'm kind of just like over it. But these Chalgu red lace, I feel like that's the way to go. All right, and my second and last piece of haul is my December thread club for color and cotton. And I am in the 3 skein like special limited edition colors club or whatever. And these are what we have. So we have Enchanted, Fairy Tale, and Princess. And honestly, when I first opened this, I saw the word Enchanted, but I didn't see what the color was, and I was like, oh, I really hope it's purple. Like Taylor Swift Enchanted from Speak Now, but it was not, it was green. But then when I saw all the colors together and like the Fairy Tale Princess color names, I was like, oh, this reminds me of Sleeping Beauty, like the 3 fairies, what are their names? Fauna, Merryweather, and Flora. And then I was like, oh my God, it's like the Powerpuff Girls. So anyway, super cute. I really love all those. I always love when there is a pink in the club because I love pink. All right, so that is all my projects. That's all my haul. I am actually about to start filming my 2024 whip parade, and then probably also a 2023 finish parade. So if you see those videos and I'm wearing the same clothes, no, you didn't. I'm kidding. But yeah, so I'm gonna go into, okay, that's kind of planned. So, and I already told you about the New Year's Eve 12 by 12, and I told you about WhipGo already. So I think we can actually move into what I've been up to. So like I said, it's been like 4 weeks since I filmed last. Since then, I have been to the Jingle Ball. I have been to Nashville, Tennessee, to visit my parents. That is kind of the halfway point between where I live and where they live. And I'm getting ahead of myself. I think I did the Notion tour after Jingle Ball. So let me back up a little bit. I did Jingle Ball. It was really fun. I didn't actually buy anything. I mainly just did it so I could chat with my friends, which I got to do on like Friday and Saturday. So that was really fun. And then, like I told you earlier, I got done with the round robin projects for Marjorie and Brijin. So that was really fun. And then the weekend after that is when I filmed my Notion tour setup. So if you watched my Notion tour last year and want an update, that video is just for you. Or maybe if you don't know anything about Notion and maybe you just want to see how I like to organize my projects, that would be a good video to check out. But yeah, that was really fun to do because I have definitely changed a lot on my Notion since last year. So it was nice to be able to film an update. And then, like I said, I went to Nashville to see my parents. We stayed at the Grand Opryland Hotel, or Gaylord Opryland Hotel, for just like 2 nights. I drove that we both got there on Friday, and then we had to leave on Sunday. So we went to that yarn store to get this yarn. And which the yarn store that we visited was called Bliss Yarns. I had heard Knitty Natty talk about it on her Flosstube, on her podcast. slash Vlogmas. And I was like, hey, I'm going to Nashville. Let me check it out. So I went there, got some yarn. And then we pretty much just hung out at our hotel the rest of the time. If you've never been to a Gaylord hotel, they are pretty like, I mean, it's a resort. So like they have a bunch of activities to do there. So you don't really have to go out and go somewhere else to do stuff. Like they've got restaurants, they've got shopping. They've got like events, like we went to they have a bunch of Christmas stuff going on. So they had what is called ice, and the one in Nashville was Polar Express themed. So they have these like artisans like carve all of this ice, into different, sculptures and whatnot. And so this one, like I said, was Polar Express themed, and it was just so cool. It was so cold. They like gave you a parka to wear, to walk around. And there was an ice slide, and yeah, it was just really, really super cool. So we did that. We, ate at some restaurants, had some drinks, just kind of chilled out and vibed. We did also go to the Opry Mills Mall across the parking lot, basically. And we went shopping, and we we watched, the new Wonka movie, which was really good. If you're looking for something to go see, that's a good one. Timothée Chalamet did a really great job. And I knew going into it that it was going to be like contradictory to like at least the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, since that one does have some backstory. But this is like a prequel that kind of explains like how Willy Wonka became a chocolatier. But yeah, it was super good. And it was just so whimsical, and it was perfect. So yeah, and then aside from that, I've just been crafting, and I've been watching pretty religiously Knitty Natty's Vlogmas, and also Crazy Sock Lady's Vlogmas. I have really I think I'm starting to fall down a rabbit hole when it comes to knitting. So I definitely want to participate in a yarn advent next year, because it just looked like so much fun. I loved getting to, one of the yarn advents that Natalie got was Toy Story from Fangirl Fibers. And so it was really fun to watch her and her husband guess like the color and the name, because she would know the color and he would know the name. And so she would have him guess the color, and then she would guess the name. And it was kind of funny because they actually hadn't seen like 2 of the movies, so they didn't know a lot of the characters. But so I was like yelling at the screen like, it's Prickle Pants, or you know, like these random characters that they don't know yet because they didn't see the movie. So anyway, I've been watching a lot of that. I also watched a ton of Christmas movies last weekend. And then earlier in the month, I watched like some of my favorites like Elf, Polar Express, Muppet Christmas Carol. But then Christmas weekend, I watched 5 movies in one day. I watched Home Alone 1 and 2, and then I watched Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3. Those are also some of my favorites. The only favorites I have that I did not watch this year were Christmas Vacation and A Christmas Story. But that's mainly because they're not really like my favorites because I love the movies. They're my favorites because those are the ones we watched a lot growing up. And so they just like have a lot of family tradition kind of meaning to them for me. My family literally quotes Christmas Vacation like all year round. And then A Christmas Story, I think it's TBS that like airs Christmas Story literally all day on Christmas Day. So we always watch that as well. But yeah, so got lots of Christmas movie watching in. Been watching a bunch of knitting people on YouTube. And I'm still reading Misery, the Stephen King book. I'm like a little over halfway now. I'm just so nervous for Paul Sheldon. I really am. Because there's every little thing that I'm like, oh my god, is this it? Is this it? But yeah, I'm hoping I can finish that in the next few weeks. Just because I have been reading that for quite a while. It's time to be done. But yeah, so I think that's about it. I know I kind of brushed through a lot of that. I feel like I talked a mile a minute. But also I have got things I'm trying to do today. So I'm gonna go take a break, and then gonna have to turn back around and film a whip parade. I was thinking about like whether or not I wanted to film the whip parade and the finish parade today, or if I only wanted to film the whip parade, but the truth of the matter is, if I don't film both this weekend, then I won't be able to film again until mid-January. So I feel like I need to just do it and get it over with. Because editing isn't that bad. It's just the sitting down, pulling out all the stuff, showing it all, that is time consuming and kind of makes a mess. So anyway, I hope all of you had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you are going to have a great New Year. You should totally let me know if you are going to do the New Year's Eve 12 by 12. If you're not completely sure of all the details of that, you probably can find a video from either Pam from Just Keep Stitching or Kia B from Kia B Quilting, because they're the ones that kind of came up with this a couple years ago. But yeah. So let me know what your plans are for the rest of the holiday season. And I think that's it. So I'm gonna go take a break now, and I'll see you in my next video wearing the same outfit. Bye.